oversee the EITI in PNG. And EITI is made up of a group called the MSG, the multi-stakeholder group, that is made up of the civil society, government, and industry, the extractives, and they meet to make decisions on EITI and the report over the years. So the 2019 report is the 7th report for Papua New Guinea. There were 6 reports prior to the 2019 report. What is unique about the 2019 report, as John Lewins has mentioned, is that the 2019 report is the most comprehensive one of them all. And that is because over the years, what has happened was that the contributions by the extractive or the industry to government revenue has not been fairly well stated or represented in the report. That has come to the fore and has become known to the players in the extractives. So over the years, as I said, a figure of under 10% has been reported as the contributions by the extractives to government revenue and the PNG economy. So that has startled the players within the industry to work hard to ensure that a more wholesome, holistic, and realistic picture of the contributions of the industry is portrayed in the report, in the 2019 report. So the 2019 report now states that the contributions to government revenue by the industry is around 28%. Bulk of that is to the consolidated revenue, and the balance is distributed to SOEs. So, as I stated, it has been launched, it's a public document. You can access that on the PNG EITI website. And of the 28%, about around 1.1 billion was recorded in the national budget, and about 2.87 billion was paid to SOEs. So, as John Lewins has mentioned, the reporting companies or the producing companies in both the mining and petroleum sectors, they report on a number of revenue streams. For example, mandatory social expenditure, voluntary social expenditure, although in-kind ones, sub-national payments, the one that goes to provincial governments, equity distributions, and the share of sales, proceeds from the sales of the various products, infrastructure tax credit, various taxes to state, some of which John Lewins mentioned, permits and fees, royalties, development levy. And it is exciting that after 6 iterations, or the 7th one is now painting a more accurate picture of the contributions of the extractives to PNG economy and specifically to government revenue. Now, in terms of the multiplier effect of the PNG industry or extractive industry contributions to PNG, I think if you recall, or if you had participated in the webinar 4 of the Chamber of Mines and Petroleum in 2020, you would have noted then that there was a presentation done by the president of the Business Council of PNG, Ms. Nunikulu, who's also an employee of BSP Bank. And she talked about a number of things. And you can access that presentation on the YouTube, or you can access it via the chamber. But from a multiplier effect, what she presented then was that a big project like the PNG LNG, and there are others, can do a lot in terms of spin-offs and multiplier effect to any economy of any country. And for PNG LNG, a prime example is the Edai Township, not too far from the PNG LNG plant. It was an ambitious project from direct and indirect proceeds from the PNG LNG, and that funds were used to create a modern township. And now 5 years later, that there are 200 homes and 400 residents in the township. And unlike rest of us in Port Moresby, who suffer from the often outages from power and water, they don't have that problem. Another example she cited then during her presentation was how a big project can help with local business development. And she talked about Trans Wonderland, and Larry Endegali will go into a little bit more detail on that when he does present probably tomorrow. She also mentioned agribusiness opportunities and made specific example of the Koroba Agro-Industrial Center. And there are opportunities for independent power producers like New Power, stationed outside of the PNG LNG plant. It's a partnership between OSL and Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited that are also currently producing power to the Port Moresby grid. I think a key thing that she mentioned was the growth of the middle class. If you look at how major projects in developing countries and how middle class grow, they're actually the engine room for growth. And because a lot of the middle class become consumers and also become investors in their own right in various segments of the economy, in the retail, property, and the ICT sectors, for example. And so, as I said, you can access details of a talk on the YouTube. But from a COVID-19 perspective, like everyone else in PNG and throughout the world, even ExxonMobil in Papua New Guinea, we share, we're also impacted. And we share the government's commitment in terms of safety and its focus on minimizing the spread of COVID. And we also care for the affected population within a sphere of influence. So ExxonMobil has been supporting government in the pandemic responses since 2020. And we've strictly adhered to the guidelines that PNG government's nuclear passing and the COVID-19 measures that are brought about to ensure the safety of Papua New Guineans and for us, our workers. So some of the ways we have supported the PNG government has been on a number of fronts. Firstly, at the national level and also at the provincial and at the staff participation level. So for example, at the national level, we supported the government of PNG with donations of medical equipment, defibrillators and ventilators to the National Department of Health as they establish an infectious disease isolation facility at the Port Moresby General Hospital. In addition, we donated general medical supplies such as the echocardiogram, electrodes, syringes, nebulizer masks, and similar products, and also supply of PPE, personal protective equipment for the frontline workers of the National Department of Health. We have assisted in flying National Department of Health supplies and materials between Port Moresby and the Hela province, which is where our Heights operation is based, and as well as transportation of samples to the PNG Institute of Medical Research in Goroka. Recently, this year, we donated 10 vehicles to the National Control Center to support the center's response to the efforts and the ability to move around as they're doing their business combating COVID-19. ExxonMobil has also worked with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and the Philippines Embassy in PNG and Air New Guinea, where we repatriated Filipino workers back to the Philippines, around 40 of them. And as the flight returned, we were able to bring back to Papua New Guinea students that were stranded in the Philippines, PNG students. At the provincial and community level, we've disseminated more than 2,000 messages and posters as part of COVID-19 prevention with the communities in Hela and Southern Highlands. We worked with Central Provincial Health Authority, donation of triad stands infrared thermometers and reusable masks and things like that, even to the LNG plant site communities. From a staff participation perspective, staff members were donated food voluntarily, and those were, given out to HELA in the hospital entirely, the staff members, and to BLC PNG and Cheshire Disability Services. So I think that's about it from me in terms of both the EITI report as well as our participation in the COVID-19 response.